Well, if you're surprised I'm back, I'm back. I'm surprised. I keep finding things that I just feel like we need to talk about. As I started this process a little bit around a month or so ago, I thought I'd be talking to you about a little bit about landscape, which is my profession, just to share things, history, which I love, and how things are working, and obviously current events. Uh, but right now it's not too important whether or not you know how to do your landscape beautifully. There's some much more important things happening uh, in the world. History is helpful, which is one reason I like to talk about it. But right now we got, and certainly if we part of what we need to make our decisions is based on things we know about the past, cycles, etc., like that. But there's just things happening, and especially with the economy, I just feel like if you haven't been thinking about it, then it's time to open your eyes. And it's really easy to have given everything over to somebody else to take care of for you. But if you've heard other videos from me, this is not a time when you want to just trust someone else to take care of you. I am very convinced we're at just where they were, we're at a similar place as they were just before the crash in 1929. The yield curve that had inverted has just undone. It's back to a positive situation. And this is when historically recessions are in, for sure. Now, there's some people think we've been in a recession for a while, and maybe we have because they've done a really good job of trying to pull the wool over our eyes with manipulating statistics and all kind of other kind of things. And we never know about when the recession or depression starts as far as officially until like a year later, and they tell you, yeah, the recession started last year. So you know that you're paying a heck of a lot at the grocery store and at the gas pump. So you know something's going on. More is coming, and it's coming hard and fast, and it's changing. Things are changing. One, possibly because of new technologies of the blockchain, but primarily that's a kind of change that's there and may affect the way investments and things go here in the coming months. But also because and of course, new technology has changed things all the way along. IBM, Apple, etc. Right? New things come along. So, feel like we're at a precipice. This is a term I've heard people using for the last several years. We're at a precipice, and they were talking largely about more like a political precipice. But we are definitely we've been in. I guess every day is a precipice in a way, but there's been things happening. But we're sort of, I think, at a fulcrum, possibly. Maybe that's the word to use. Anyway, so I want to share. For some people, we've got all kind of statistics thrown at us. Statistics can confuse us. If somebody says, "Oh, only 1% of so and so has been affected," or only 1% was lost, etc. That's a statistic. That means, oh, it's only 1%, no big deal. 0.5%, no big deal. Well, when it's a million that it's 1% of, then we're talking about 100,000 people or things or items, right? If it's a million people who get some kind of medical operation or procedure, and 1% die or get sick or etc., then that's a million people. And so you might question, well, should we be using this particular medical procedure or whatnot? That's something to know. You just can't trust that silly statistic, because the purpose of the statistic being put out there for you is to keep you from getting upset and to keep you calm and to keep you doing what you're wanted to do. Okay? The people who are trying to pull the strings. So anyway, And you hear all kind of stuff. I just heard somebody the other day, a guy had done research, and he was looking at electromagnetic fields, and they wanted to know how that affected certain animals. And he was his specialty was moles or something like that, a ground mole, but he was having a hard time with that. And he realized, hey, I'll use the cows. He drove by some cows. I'll use cows. So they did research on cows, and they found that cows stand north and south in the pastures, and this is attributed to the electromagnetic fields or whatnot. Well, that's great. Do you believe that? I'm sorry, I drive by cows every day. There's a cow pasture right up and down that road all the time. Those cows are not standing north-south. I don't know what this guy's talking about. Now, maybe it is in a very narrow spectrum of circumstances that cows stand north-south. Personally, I think cows stand north-south or east-west or northeast-southeast or northwest, however they stand because of the weather. More than likely, they don't like the rain in their face. They don't like the wind in their face. They don't like the sun in their face, whatever it may be. And they turn to adjust themselves. And you will see cow standing, and the whole herd is sort of standing in a particular direction. But it's not all north-south all the time. And I'm quite positive about this because the road that I drive by the pasture on is a north-south road. And they're not out. I just drove by them today. They're not standing north-south. Am I supposed to listen to this scientist? What scientist am I supposed to listen to? What expert? What economist? Who am I supposed to listen to? So, I listen to some people. And I've been listening to a few of these guys for a few years now. So I feel I'm comfortable with them. I don't listen to the everyday business shows on TV anymore. I don't trust them. You'll hear people, these guys who I listen to, you'll hear them talk about Jim Cramer, who you'll see, buy, I think you ought to buy. You need to sell, you need to sell. He's wrong way more than he's right. But this is the guy we're listening to on TV, and he makes a lot of money telling us. And the question is, who's paying this guy's bills, right? Because he's so bad at getting it right. No one gets it right all the time. But you ought to be up there at 85, 90% at least, if you're going to give me any advice, right? And that's pretty generous. So, I'm going to share a few videos with you. One of the people I'm going to share is Michael Pento, who is an investment manager, and he discusses where, why, and when to move his and his clients' money around for to get the best situation. And I've been surprised because he hasn't run out of the market yet. There's other people that I've heard talk that it's like, hey, get out of the market. A year ago, he's still in there doing things, but he's got algorithms. He has his own programs. He's an analyst, so he hadn't lost his money yet. And but he talks about what a dangerous situation we're in right now economically, and what you need to do. And you might have thought that, historically you move things, and your advisor that you've talked to may tell you, the places to be is bonds. You may want to listen to this Michael Pento video and hear what he has to say about bonds and other things. Now, Economic Ninja provides another perspective. He's a businessman. He's just been doing his own business for the last 20 years or so, and dealing with history and etc. And trying to convince other people to do what he's doing. And if you've ever listened to the Ninja, he'll share about how he kept his job as a fireman. He just retired from being a fireman. So I put a video in my fire video. I've got his video in the description because he can tell you a lot about what's going on in the fires in California that is unlike anything you're hearing anywhere else. It's not crazy stuff. It's just practical firefighting, etc. information that he can tell you. A lot of the crazy stuff you hear, a lot of the conspiracy theory stuff you might hear, he thinks is just conspiracy theory. and he explains why. It's good. Good to hear somebody who can talk practically and who has been a fireman. I can tell you about landscape architecture, okay? And I can tell you about some other things too, but we all have certain areas that we know something about. But he not only was a fireman, but he has all this experience in investing in real estate, etc. And he's really put a lot of his own efforts into cryptocurrencies since this new technology has come out. So he's got things to share about that. There's all the blockchain technologies may be confusing for you. Certainly it is for me. There's just so much going on. It's just mind-boggling. And I can listen to some of this stuff that from expert, technical analysis people. But it's good to have somebody like the Ninja who talks about the practical aspects of investing in Bitcoin or other things, XRP, which is a very hot thing going on. So he focuses on investments that may be plausible or beneficial to me, and therefore maybe they are to you. So if you want to get a better handle on cryptos, etc., you might want to take a look at that post that I have below for him as well. Now, one thing, there's Ethereum. That's a big crypto. Of course, everybody knows about Bitcoin, whether they understand how it works or not. Dogecoin, there's things been around, have been hot from time to time. XRP is very hot right now. It's been through some legal challenges or whatnot that I had to go through, so it's not very expensive. If you missed, this is not financial advice. This is me just saying something to think about. And you might have heard me share. I would have loved to have gotten in on Bitcoin at 11 cents, or $2, or $5, right? And I didn't, and so I'm not a multi-billionaire right now, right? But XRP is one of these things that is has great utility from what I can understand from the Ninja and others. And it's really hot right now. It's hot because people who know what's going on, I assume, are saying see its potential and are questioning, wow, why is it so cheap right now? So this is the coin that might go, it might be $5 or $10 by the end of the year, and right now it's like around $2.50 or some $2.20 or something like that. It's somewhere in that area. So if you want to know something about that, this is a good video, couple of videos to look at. Now, like Greg Manarino, who is a stock guy, the Economic Ninja was one of those who already thinks that those who already own most of everything and control most of our economy, the banks, big businesses, that they're not concerned that we're headed into this recession. They're not concerned that people, they're going to lose money too. Now, of course, a lot of them, like, what's his name, the famous investor, the old man. Anyway, it'll come to me later. A lot of them have put money to the side. They have cash on the side. They're waiting for the value of stocks, the value of homes, the value of all kind of real estate and other kind of investments. It could be somebody who invests in bulldozers. I remember after 2008, there's a place over here on the interstate I drive by, and it was just packed with all kind of equipment like bulldozers and everything. They were picking up those bulldozers for just about nothing. Now, maybe what was happening was people had bought the bulldozers and other kind of equipment like that, side equipment, and weren't able to continue paying for it, and so they had taken it back. I don't know, but my guess is they had actually, maybe that had happened to somebody. There was so much there. I'm confident they had just gone out and picked up these things for virtually nothing. Some of you bought back then what do you call it? The Humvees, remember? Everybody, all of a sudden, people who couldn't afford a car could afford a Humvee, right? Because people were just giving them, selling them for nothing to get rid of them. So that's where we're at. And people with money are going to be buying everything up. And so people like Greg Minorino, people like Economic Ninja, and others are saying, look, you need to be prepared for this. In fact, part of the main thing Ninja is always harping on is, you want to be buying this stuff. You don't want the banks to buy it. Yeah, people will foreclose on, get their property foreclosed on it. Can you buy that person's piece of property before a foreclosure happens at a great price at an auction wherever, right? So this is the kind of things they're looking at. Quote from Ninja. He says, I don't think about price. I think about technology and the adoption. Then price follows. And this is true, of course. That's a quote from him. This is true with all kind of investing. I listened to Rick Rule. If you've never heard of Rick Rule, you should go look up Rick Rule talking about mining investments and whatnot. And he would say pretty much the same thing. You need to know your product. Several years ago, I got the reason I know Rule. I got interested in that, and I thought, I'll buy some mining stock, penny stock. And I've decided to do it because I just wanted to learn how it all worked. I was not a stock market guy. Okay, I just was trying to learn. So I bought some, but it became apparent over not too long of a period that I didn't know what I was doing. Now, I've learned more about it. I've tried to learn more, but and in the process of learning more about mining, I've learned, man, did I make some sucky investments in mining. But unfortunately, I'm buying like $50 worth of some 15-cent stock. So now, these stocks, because mining stocks can be very volatile, they can take off whenever if gold and silver starts taking off here the next year, it goes to $3,000 or something. All of a sudden people start buying all that gold and silver, and you might be one of them. And then people want to invest in mines because they need more gold and silver. So that little do-nothing mine that I've got, or a mining company I have some investment in, maybe it'll go to 50 cents, and then I'll be able to make my money back and a little bit more. Anyway, that's just something I've done. Now, you have people like Jim Rickards. Getting back to what we're talking about, Jim Rickards. If you've never heard of him, another name that you might want to listen to. And I don't have a video by him below right now, but I'm sure I will at other times. But I was listening to him talk just last day or so, and he's talking about the Fed. They don't care if the economy drops. The Fed, who is supposed to control our economy, right? They're not concerned about the stock market dropping. It can go down and down and down. As long as it's moving one way or the other in incremental ways, they're not too concerned about it. They're only concerned, he says, that if the stock market starts to crash, and then they'll step in and cut rates or whatever they think they need to do to get that activity to stop and to stabilize things. But they're not really concerned whether or not it goes down a little bit, or they're not concerned that there's inflation happening in the economy. And of course, they claim that they want 2% inflation, and I think if you've heard me talk before, that's, I believe, because they know that you and I will just be content with 2% inflation. But even if it goes to 10%, they might do something to pretend like they're doing something about it. But they're really not concerned about it. And they're not going to lose their power and the power of their cronies, all the wealthy people, for us. Remember, the Fed is a private bank. All these Fed people are not government employees in the same respect as your congressman or even the guy working in the Social Security office. Okay, it's a privately held bank that our government has a relationship with. So anyway, Michael Pento agrees with that, basically, and he said the Fed will choose controlling a market crash over, you know, inflation any day. They don't care if it inflates, okay? Now, and something else that Pento talks about in the video below is he talks about right now, people, when we look at normal cycles of things, typically people, when the stock market is having a problem, stocks are having a problem, they may go to bonds. But under the current circumstances, he's warning that bonds may not be the place to go for to buy and hold. And you can listen to him give explanation for that. I am not a financial analyst. So these are just some things, some videos. I'm trying to help you educate yourself, and I'm just raising issues. We need to have our eyes wide open. That's always good all the time, but in times like this, in 1928, in 2006, in 1999, in 1968, 69, in these periods, you especially need to get your eyes open. And don't let the talking heads who repeat the same thing as you go from one TV channel to another. You know, Pento, for example, he used to be on, and you'll find there's different people that I run across, these contrarian kind of people. You know, back in 2006 or whatnot, they were analysts that they had on TV to talk on CNN or wherever, you know. But he says, no more, you know, because he's going to tell you the truth. He's going to tell you when things suck, right? And they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that everything is good and everybody should be happy. And, oh, there might be a little bit of something we need to look for, but everything's fine. So we need to have eyes wide open about everything in life. The devil is a deceiver, and he'll lie to you on every level of life. He'll cause you pain. He doesn't care. But, you know, supposed to love your neighbor, and this is my way of doing it, okay? I'm trying to give you information so that you can protect yourself. Have a good day.